Greetings everybody and welcome back to the Austin Lindsay channel. So I've had a lot of people ask me to do a color grading tutorial in Photoshop, and my system isn't super great, I don't think, so it's hard for me to make a full tutorial or here's step-by-step how to do it. So what I thought I would do today is just let you watch. I'll just do a screen record, let you watch as I color grade this image, and then hopefully that'll give you a better understanding of what I do. Pretty much what I do is I come over here and I grab a selective color adjustment layer, and I do basically everything with this layer. So what this allows you to do is adjust the hues within each color. So what I mainly do is adjust the blacks, neutrals, and whites. Then I'll go up and adjust the yellows and reds. And sometimes if there's like a specific color I want to mess around with, I'll use that color. Like for instance, this one has a blue hue on the model's right-hand side. So I might go in and adjust the blue hue on this. Sometimes what I do if I want to adjust a color, for instance, again, this blue hue, and I want to adjust that more specifically and not have it affect any of the other colors in the image, I'll make a secondary adjustment layer with selective color and mask out this particular color that I want. But generally I just use one layer. When I'll do a second layer is usually if the color is close to the skin or something else I don't want to affect, and I'll use that second layer. But for this one, since it's blue, it's probably going to be fine to use the one layer. So we're going to start over here, make sure the layer is selected and not the mask. And then we're going to go, I usually just start with blacks and work my way up. So what I like doing is adding a little bit of blue to my blacks. So what I'll do is just go into the yellow and remove yellow. So you go into the minus area. If you want to add more yellow, you go into the positive. So another tip you can do is you can either grab on this slider and slide around. You can grab on the word and drag around. And what I will usually do is if you drag on the word and you hold down Option, you can move the slider in smaller increments. And you can also use Shift to move it around in very large increments. So I'm going to undo that really quick. So I'll usually, first off, just kind of grab the slider, move it around, just see where things I'm kind of liking them. And then I'll leave it right here, and then I'll go to the word and then just find adjustment. So I'm going to actually take a little bit of blue out of here. So we're going to go to like -2 or 3, and that looks fine to me. So then we're going to go up to the magentas, move that around a bit. Looks pretty good around here, but maybe a little less, so maybe +1. And cyan, maybe -1. That seems to be kind of all right, kind of painterly. Okay, and then I'm gonna move up to the neutrals, do the same thing. Pull in some yellows, actually looks pretty nice. We're gonna go to negative or +2. And then same thing here. Maybe -2. Hold down the Option and scoot it to the left. Actually, that might be too much. Let's go to -1. Okay, we're going to go to the cyans. -1 looks fine. We're going to go to the whites. Maybe remove some magenta. I've been liking having a tiny bit of teal in the highlights. I don't know, that's just kind of a thing I've been into lately. And again, my color grading, it really depends on the image and kind of the mood and kind of what I'm interested in at the current point in time. So there's never one set way of like, this is the way I do my skin tones, or this is the way I do my blacks or anything. It's just whatever I feel like that time. Okay, and again, so when I'm done with the whites, I'm going to go up to the yellows and reds because that's where the skin tone is held. And I start with the magentas for some reason when I do my skin tones, and instead of the blacks or instead of the yellows. We're going to move this around. This kind of looks good where it was, so I'm going to go to cyan. That looks a little, we'll add a little bit of cyan to it. Let's take out some yellow, see how that looks. I might add +1 yellow. Nah, I'm going to take it out. So we're going to undo this. Okay, we're going to go to the reds. Start with magentas again for no real reason. I'm going to add a little bit of magentas, maybe +3. We're going to add a little bit of cyan, probably the most cyan, +6. And then I'm going to add probably +3 or 4 yellows. Okay, I'm going to do a before and after. So there's before. This is after. Okay, I'm going to go into the blues here. And you can actually use this black slider. It'll kind of tell you what's going to be adjusted. So if you just slide this to the very ends of either side, you can see what'll be adjusted. And so I'm going to actually add or remove some yellow, but I don't like how that looks. So I'm going to actually go back to 0. We're going to go to magenta. It looks kind of cool with a teal color, but that's not really the look I had in mind. I liked the blue color. So I might remove some blue, but not all the way into the teal. So, and I still, now that I'm looking at it again, I'm actually going to take out, bring this back to normalish. And that looks good to me. See the befores and afters again, before and after. So basically this is a finished color grade. There's nothing crazy to it. So then maybe it's just an added bonus. I'm going to grab a levels layer and I'm going to move the white slider a little bit. I think that's probably going to blow out too much on her forehead and whatnot. So yeah, I might just leave that where it's at. I'll bring a little bit in the mid-tones back, and then I'm gonna grab the blacks. I'm gonna put some more blacks in it, but since there's a smaller gap here, instead of dragging the slider and moving it, I'm actually just gonna select the number and push up on my arrow key a couple times. Maybe bring it up to 3, and then I'm gonna hit enter. I'm gonna do a before and after. So there's before, there's after, before, after. It's a very subtle difference. From my end, I like it. I don't know if you'll notice too much on YouTube or wherever I put this, but I think I'm going to leave that. So let's throw this into a group, and then I can give you a before and an after, before and an after. So nothing too crazy. Each image is just kind of a case-by-case situation on how I color grade it. And this is how I've done this one. I'll maybe try and give you a couple more examples as I go along. But hopefully you found this interesting or entertaining. So if you guys do have any questions, leave them in the comments field. I'll do my best to answer them. And thanks everyone for watching.